Hi, Lee Phillips here. I want to talk to you about applying for the PPP Forgiveness. And first you had to apply, make the application, and get the PPP money, the Paycheck Protection Program money. Now that you've spent the money, you're going to have to apply in order to get it forgiven. If you can, make sure you use the EZ form. That's the form 3508EZ. You can get it online very easily, and you'll note that in order to use the EZ form, you have to check a couple of three boxes, at least one of them. The first one is you have to be a self-employed guy, no employees, 1099 person. You got the PPP money. You never had any employees. We didn't have to worry about whether we reduced their salaries or not because it's you. So if you check that box, use the EZ. The other one is the borrower hasn't reduced the annual wages or the hourly rate of any of the employees, at least by not more than 25%. So if you reduced it 10% or something, you can still use the EZ form if you haven't reduced it, and if you haven't reduced the number of hours. As in the covered period, that's the period where you spent your money, either the 8 weeks or the 24 weeks. So you haven't reduced the number of hours that the employees were working. We basically had what they call on the application the same number of full-time equivalents, FTEs. So if you haven't cut the pay, at least not more than 25%, and you haven't cut the hours as compared to January 1st through the end of the covered period, if you haven't cut hours, at least not by more than 25%, then you're good to go. Use the EZ form. The other way that you can qualify for the EZ form is, one, you haven't cut the hours, you haven't cut the wages, the annual wage or the hourly wage, at least not by more than 25%. And for some reason, the government kept you from working during the covered period. You were shut down by the CDC, by OSHA, by one of the government regulations that said you can't operate during this period. That means you didn't have any hours during that period, but that was because the government said you couldn't. So, one of the three things: one, you're self-employed guy; two, you haven't cut hours or you haven't cut salary by more than 25% at least; or you haven't cut hours, salary, and you couldn't work during that period. And there are exceptions. If you cut hours but you couldn't get a guy that was qualified to fill the position and stuff, you don't have to worry about that much. You know, if you've just been going along cruising, same thing, but you got the money and it helped, then use the EZ form. Don't go to the full form. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel because we keep doing updates on this PPP stuff, the coronavirus stuff. In fact, we've prepared a full course for you. Don't forget to check out the course. It's called CERT, C-E-R-T, Coronavirus Economic Relief Tutorial, where my friend Ben, who is a former IRS agent for 8 years, special auditor, accountant, and I walk you through the PPP application process, spending the money, getting the forgiveness, A to Z in this coronavirus stuff that we're dealing with. So subscribe and check out the CERT because it will help you fill out these applications. We go through them line by line for you. This is Lee Phillips. I'm an attorney. Don't hold that against me.